Server relocations can be broken down into separate individual stages: inventory, disconnect, reconnect, and post-move data center support. During each of these stages there are essential terms, equipment, and tools you will need to know on site. Before we learn the processes of cabling and rack and stack, there are some key terms and equipment you need to know. Room, row, rack, and RU are how individual servers are located within the large quantity of server racks in the data center. The room is the part of the building where a collection of racks are. Some data centers also divide one large space with fencing. Those portioned off areas would also be considered rooms. Within each room there are rows of server racks. For each row of server racks, there is a hot side and a cold side. The cold side is the front of the server, the hot side is where the warm air is blown away from the devices with fans. If you are unsure which side is which, ask your project manager. Within each row are the individual server racks. Racks hold multiple server devices and have a range of heights and designs. Often there will also be server cabinets which enclose the rack. The server cabinets are like a desktop PC's case while the rack is the frame inside. Within the rack on the posts where servers are mounted, there will be a series of numbers next to the 3 hole segments. These are called the RUs or rack units. An RU is the unit of measurement vertically on the server rack. Each RU is not only used to designate where the device is to be mounted but also is used to determine the size of the device. Hardware designed to be rack-mounted are manufactured in multiples of 1 3/4 inches for each U the device occupies. A 1U device would occupy a single RU. 2U devices occupy 2. 3U devices will occupy 3 RUs. And so on. Now that you know how servers are located in a data center using the room, row, rack, and RU, being able to read elevation sheets and port maps or how individual servers have their origin and destination locations specified. Just like in desktop relocation where the user has a desk as their origin and destination. This is a sample of what an elevation sheet will look like. Each row is for the individual devices that are moving and the columns detail the locations as well as the device name or serial number. Similar in appearance is the port map or cable diagram. For this spreadsheet, each row will be for the individual cables and the columns will detail which device and port the cable connects to on each side. Now are some pieces of hardware you will need to know on site. RK or rail kits are used to mount devices to the rack. They allow for easier maintenance since the device can slide out from the rack. Some of the rail kits are also quick release and will have a button you can press to remove the rail attached to the server while leaving behind the rail mounted to the rack. Here is a sliding rail kit with quick release. On the rails, there will also be front stamping. These can be adhesive labels or engraved into the rail kit. The front stamping details if the rail is left or right side, as well as details which side is the front. An alternative to rail kits are shelves. Devices can be stacked on top of the shelf. If devices are stacked, the abbreviation for stacked is STK. PDU, or Power Distribution Unit, is used to send power to the devices from one source. They are mounted on the rear side of the rack where the device's power ports are located. The PDU can be mounted horizontally or vertically. Typically if mounted horizontally the PDU will show on the elevation sheet since it occupies the space of rack units.